What's going on, everybody? So, it is Dr. Jamar Montgomery. It is currently 1:15 a.m. Just a little over, probably about 8 to 12 hours ago, Israel was attacked by Iran. Now, many look at this as a provocation by Iran, and certainly can understand why they see that. But there was something interesting that I came across, and it was there was a tweet by the permanent mission of Iran to the UN, and it said, conducted on the strength of Article 51 of the UN Charter pertaining to legitimate defense, Iran's military action was in response to the Zionist regime's aggression against our diplomatic premises in Damascus. The matter can be deemed concluded. However, should the Israeli regime make another mistake, Iran's response will be considerably more severe. It is a conflict between Iran and the rogue Israeli regime from which the U.S. must stay away. So, about 13 days ago, Israel struck an Iranian embassy or consulate that was in Damascus in Syria. For those of us that are unaware, that an embassy or consulate is considered sovereign territory of whatever country that you're in. So that means that if there is an American embassy in Mexico, that embassy is considered United States property. So 13 days ago, there was an attack, there was a military airstrike on the consulate that Iran had in Syria, in Damascus. And although the Israelis have not taken responsibility for that particular attack, Iran is pointing the finger at Israel. Now, we're talking about Article 51, and it says there was another tweet that said Iran's evocation of Article 51 of the UN Charter occurred following a 13-day period marked by the Security Council's inaction and silence. So basically, there was sovereign territory that was attacked, sovereign territory that belonged to Iran that was attacked. So that can be considered an attack on that country. Let's add something else that happened within the last couple of days. Mexico invaded the Ecuadorian embassy and went and got the former vice president of Ecuador out of the Ecuadorian embassy in Mexico. That right there is a violation of sovereign territory and a violation of international law, or quote unquote the UN Charter. So we're seeing those kinds of actions happen where international law is literally being ripped to shreds right now. Literally being ripped to shreds, meaning that if you aren't associated or backed by the United States, France, England, Russia, or China, then you're in big trouble. Or rather, if you're backed by one of them, one of those members of the Permanent Security Council of the UN, then basically you can have free reign on whatever it is that you want to do. And we see that Israel has been enjoying the diplomatic cover and political cover that the United States has provided in the UN as being a permanent member of the UN Security Council. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the United Nations responds to Iran, because it's going to say, hey, international law was violated here. The UN Charter was violated when this country attacked our embassy, and the UN didn't say anything about it. Now, Iran has launched a counterattack, but it launched a very measured counterattack in that they sent drones and ballistic missiles. They didn't say how many ballistic missiles were flown, but we do know that a mixture of 300 drones and ballistic missiles were shot from Iran over into Israel. Many of them were intercepted by the Iron Dome system, as well as naval weapon systems that are sitting out in the Red Sea currently. One of the systems most likely being the Mark 41 vertical launching system that I used to work on, that was designed to shoot down air-to-air, air targets, sea targets, land targets, and even undersea targets. So this response by Iran is something that we need to pay attention to, because it's going to have an effect on the American economy. Defense stocks are likely going to go up because this is going to be seen as an international provocation. So we're seeing companies like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and maybe I think there's one other, but Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Raytheon, and like I said, there might be one other, but those stocks are getting ready to go up. We're headed into a period of global unrest, and like I said months ago, that we're already in World War III. We just didn't realize that what was going to actually be the catalyst for it. And we're starting to see that now Iran, being a superpower in the region, is now really stepping up and making an official stance and making official military moves in that particular region. And that has the likely and large potential of dragging many more other powerful players and having people there start to choose sides. So oil and other resources that we get from that particular region, or that need to be shipped to that particular region, are now going to be much more expensive. When you think of your navies are there to protect, provide defense, but one of the things that they're there to do is also to protect the commercial lines, so commercial air and commercial seaways, because that's where we get a lot of our much of our global trade happens on the seas. And if your navy cannot protect your commerce, then you're in trouble. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens over the next couple of months, and particularly over the next 24 to 48 hours, with the UN Security Council and the UN meeting as a result of this attack by Iran, or retaliatory attack by Iran on the state of Israel.